Oh, last week we had a go at West Brom, but this week they are back, properly up for the fight, and probably deserved a lot more than they got against Sheffield United. We are, of course, reviewing that game. We're talking about set pieces and who've been the best fans at the Shrine this year. Welcome to Where Baggies Walk. Oh, yes, the Baggies are back, Ben? That's a lot better, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a type of draw where you're sitting there saying, coming out of 2 points for that one? Because we're not used to getting 1 point every week. I think what was different on Saturday was that draw was much closer to being a win, whereas the last sort of however many draws it's been have been much easier. There could have been losses type thing, but much more attacking intent. Didn't sit back and hold on for the draw. We kind of had a bit of intent about us to try and get that win. And I think it was just sort of 5 minutes of calamity at the back that sort of cost us in the end.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Ben. We are, of course, reviewing Sheffield United. We know there's midweek games. We're recording this, of course, before them. But it's good, Dan, isn't it, that even though that was a draw, there's a draw you probably didn't mind in the end, didn't you?
No, not at all. If someone said to me before the start of the day, "Oh yeah, you'll pick up a draw against Sheffield United," I'd have took it anyway. But it was great to see that. Actually, see us attacking more. And like Ben said, not just sitting back and inviting the pressure on. And yeah, it was just a mad 5 or 10 minutes for us conceding them 2 goals. More or less straight after we scored. But yeah, it is great to see that the players actually have still a bit of fight in them.
It's hard to say this, Aaron, isn't it? But do you think Carlos has picked up on some of the criticism that has been floating around? It isn't just this podcast; it's obviously others and forums, and journalists are asking him as well. Do you think he's there's something tweaked with him that he needs to stop being a bit more negative?
Yeah, I would agree, but I'd also say it's common sense, really, because a lot of the times where we've gone defensive, it's automatically that we've dropped off in tempo. We're back towards our goals. We're not really doing much with the ball. We're just sat there, just trying to kick the ball along, and hopefully something comes of it. But every time we've actually tried to play, we've had some intent to actually score a goal. We've looked a lot better, so it's common sense, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of criticism there, which is it deserves criticism as well. But it's in my opinion, it's common sense.
Okay, Dean, let's have a look at some tweets, if that's okay, from the game. Reece says it was a cracking performance, and MJ is back. I'll ask you about that in a second. James says CC deserved the criticism for Norwich and Preston, but he can't be blamed for today. Individual errors, cost us, and being poor in the final third. Let's talk about Mikey Johnson first of all. Is he back, as Reece says there for you?
Played well Sunday. Probably the best game since he came back this season. So yeah, no complaints at all.
And what about these individual errors, Dean?
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame Corberán for them. It was just 5 minutes of madness, to be honest. Apart from that, I thought we played really well Saturday. Took the game to them, went for a win. Great to watch. Really good game. Just a shame it was another point again. Just getting used to it now, aren't
we? Yeah. As a neutral, it was great. SOT said so much better today. Other than the 2 goals, we played them off the park. Mr. Bag, yes, it's another draw, but it's the best we've played over 90 for a while. We deserved more, in my opinion. Ben, do you think your overall gameplay did deserve 3 points?
Yeah, definitely. I think that is the best we've played sort of recently. Since we had that good start, I think since sort of September, that's the best 9 minutes we've put in. Attacking intent was there. Errors were the reason we conceded. 5 minutes of switching off. You could probably get away with it against some teams in the league, but not against Sheffield United. They sort of capitalised on it and punished us. It was down that right side. I think as good as Fellows was going forward, I think he was the one who sort of switched off for both the goals down that right side. And then from there, they obviously got their 2 goals from that. But in terms of the overall play, I think we definitely deserve the win.
So Dan, if you play like that against Coventry midweek, that should be a 3 point, shouldn't it? I mean, it's a Frank Lampard Coventry, but even so, you blew away the top of the league there with that performance. So if you can be consistent, should be a home win, shouldn't it, this week?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, it is about time we get 3 points on the board instead of just a measly one. But to be fair, I think Coventry will still give us a game. And yeah, I think it's still going to be a tough one. But I think if we turn up like we did against Sheffield United, we should be all right. To be fair.
Aaron, are people forgetting that you're now on the longest unbeaten streaks in Europe, up there with Liverpool and other European giants? Are we forgetting that, even though most of them, 10 out of 11 have been draws?
Well, I mean, if you'd sprinkled like at least 2 or 3 more wins in there, you'd look at that in a really positive light. And I think a lot of the performances have justified a win. I mean, obviously we've either been unlucky or we've actually done it to ourselves in a sense where we've gone defensive again. But no, I think it's a good unbeaten run. Although we haven't won a lot. We've only won once. It's still nice to say that we haven't lost. We've only lost twice all season in the league, which is another positive to look forward to, and it's something to base your game off. The fact that you're really hard to beat. It's hard to beat other teams is the only problem at the moment.
Okay, you knew I'd find one negative, Dean, and I did. So let me throw this one at you. Paul Harper says, when you pick Malumboy and Mowat, who are worse than Caldicott and O'Regan, and drop Rashits and Holgate for the players involved, you have to answer questions. Is this a bit harsh?
You can't be an Albion fan saying that, I wouldn't have thought.
I think it was
I thought Malumbi was superb on Saturday. Mowat was a bit quieter than he normally is, but I thought Malumbi was everywhere for the whole 90 minutes. I thought he was superb. So I don't know how to compare him to Regan and Caldicott.
Okay. Aaron, you want to come in?
No, I just sent Wolves to listen to now. Sorry. No.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Did Craig Dawson get the 2 again?
Yeah. Well, this is it. No, in reference to that tweet, in my opinion, Malumbi was the best player on the pitch for both teams. Actually, I thought he was up and down. He was putting himself about, as a midfielder should. It's a really good spirited performance, and I think he made their players look nowhere near as good as they can be. I know that obviously Sheffield United have a lot of quality players, but Malumbi, I think, nullified a lot of them, especially in the middle of the park. I mean, Hamer, he's meant to be one of the best midfielders in the league, and it's touted that he quite is, but he didn't get a sniff, in my opinion. He didn't get a sniff of anything really, which is mad to see, considering how good of a player he actually is. Okay,
all right. Thank you very much for that. Big week then for West Brom, Coventry, and Watford this week. We'll chat more about that, of course, next week. Ben, there's been a lot of chat this week about set pieces, so that's our next topic of discussion, if that's okay, because of Arsenal and their reliance now on set pieces, and we're talking about set piece coaches. We'll have a look at the league table for set pieces for the Baggies. There you are. You're sitting a healthy 7th, 13 goals from open play, 6 score from set pieces, no penalties, and no counter attacks yet. We'll come on to discuss that at another point. But what do you see as a success as to why you are in this half of the table for this particular piece of analysis?
I think it helps when you've got 2 centre backs that are 6'3" plus. That's always a bonus. I think Mowat's delivery is always pretty decent as well. So if you've got those 2 things, you're always gonna create your chances and your opportunities. Just quite old fashioned, put the ball in, stick it on the tallest lad's head. Kind of back to the Tony Pulis days. You don't want to rely on that too much, but if it gets you the goals, it gets you the goals, I suppose.
Cheers for that, Ben. Dan, let me hopefully get something out of you, because no one else has gone with me on this one. I know hopefully you will. Isn't football gone a bit crazy with now set piece coaches in games? I mean, Norwich fans wanted to sack theirs this week. That's what they wanted to talk about on our version of this we do with them. We've got Sky showing the set piece coaches on the bench with monitors and iPads. It's gone a bit got a bit woke nonsense, hasn't it?
I was literally just about to say that. Yeah, it's just white nonsense. Just literally just ping a ball in the box and hope for the best. None of this.
Right.
None of this. Messing about with it and silly tactics and everything. Just get it in the box. Get someone's head on it. It's woke nonsense. That is set piece coaches.
Good stuff. Aaron, I could detect a little shake of your head there.
Well, I mean, I'm in two minds about it. I think a lot of the media shine too much of a light on it in a sense where they're showing the set piece coach on a touchline, which I think is a bit like it's sort of like why are you doing that? But it's the same thing. Like you have a goalkeeper coach who specifically coaches the goalkeepers, and it's the same sense of that where you have a coach whose job is specifically for that, which is good. It takes the load off the manager. It gives him one less thing to think about, and I think it's useful because a lot of tactics are used in the game anyway. So why can't you have a tactic for a set piece or something like that? In my opinion, it's worthwhile.
Okay. Dean, I'd like to know your thoughts.
My answer. I wasn't even aware we had a set piece coach, to be honest, and I was amazed at that statistic. That was 6, was it, in the table? I didn't think we'd be doing very well at set pieces.
Yeah, or Burnley in the relegation zone.
Yeah, Furlong's got this throw in every week, and we must know because we must do it in training. We know exactly where he's going to land, and we never do anything from them, and it annoys me. And we have so many corners as well. I know we scored Saturday, but we don't tend to score many from. I didn't think anyway till I saw that statistic just. So nonsense set piece coaches.
Okay, we're going to ask this a lot at the end of the video in a second. Who was the best ever dead ball specialist that West Brom have ever seen? We'll get their views on that in a second. But first, we're also giving some goodwill on the channel this week because it is Christmas. So we're asking who are the best fans that have been at the Hawthorns this season. West Brom have already had one shout for this from our Sheffield Wednesday fans, even though they did win that game. They said West Brom by far the best fans they've seen at Hillsborough so far this season. Portsmouth also said the same when you visited Fratton Park. So, who are you going to give some love to? Ben, have you been impressed with the volume or numbers?
I was quite surprised of how many Norwich brought down the other week, to be honest. It's quite a distance, and they sold out that end, that area. And made a fair bit of noise as well. So I was quite impressed with their backing.
Dan?
I'll probably say Middlesbrough, to be fair. They bought a fair few, especially on a midweek game. But fair play to them. Anyone who really travelled distance during the midweek deserves some praise.
Okay. Aaron?
I'd have gone with either Plymouth or Burnley. I think Plymouth can obviously, the distance is the largest out of any team that's going to, go anywhere in the league this season. But, they brought a fair few amount of numbers and they made a good bit of noise. And I think Burnley, especially as well, midweek, I think they either sold out or they were very close to a sellout anyway. And they were singing non-stop for, a good 75% of the game anyway. So, either of them would be my choice.
Okay. Dean?
Exactly the same as Ben. I was going to say Norwich. I was amazed how many they bought, seeing as they weren't doing particularly well, distance as well. So I'd have said Norwich.
Okay, all right, good chance. Let us know in the comments below. Cheers very much, you four. Enjoy the football this week. Before we let you go, then we want one single answer or one word answer to this one. Who's the best dead ball specialist you've ever seen wear the famous navy and white stripes? Ben?
I'm going to go Chris Brunt, left foot. Always got a chance, whether it's a cross or him having a shot. Yeah, so definitely him, I'd say.
I've seen him score a few against Everton. Okay, yeah, I've never.
Oh yeah.
I was always happy when he was injured. Dan?
Neil Clement. He just had an absolute hammer of a left foot.
Good shout. Aaron?
It's either got to be Chris Brunt or Pereira. I mean, Chris Brunt is Chris Brunt. His left foot's a wand, but Pereira as well in more recent times he's very good. He's very, very good at free kick. He scored a fair few, so be either of them pair.
Great shout. Dean?
Just to be different, I'll go old school. Tony Brown, bomber. Hardly ever missed a penalty and scored some cracking free kicks as well.
Brilliant. Okay. Any that we've missed, you know what to do. Drop them in the comments below. Thank you very much, all of you. Enjoy your football. this week. We'll catch up with you next week. 2 weeks till Christmas. We're nearly there. See you next week.
See you, boys.